As you guys saw in one of my most recent videos, we put an all new set of performance brakes on the Rubicon 392. And to say I've been impressed by the stopping power with these new brakes would be an understatement. It's definitely something any Jeep with 40-inch tires like these needs, but I've ran into a massive issue. Now, every time I stop, it comes to a screeching halt. I mean, it is so bad, I'm almost embarrassed to go anywhere in this thing right now because it's just so loud. And the worst part is we just put this awesome new set of brakes on and the factory ones didn't do that. It's always crazy doing first, second, and third gear burnouts on 40s. It just doesn't make any sense. Hopefully you guys can hear that though. Not only is it bad, it's embarrassing. It's really bad. Now, most of you should be well aware that almost all performance brakes are gonna squeak a little bit more than a factory style brake, even for OEM performance brakes that are drilled and slotted. See, we put 6-piston calipers on the front here, and they are drilled and slotted rotors, but it shouldn't be squeaking like it is now. And I think it could be my fault. All my issues were created whenever I flipped my rotors to opposite sides, because initially I installed it with the bleeders down, and we needed to have the bleeders up. So once I did that, I didn't go through the process of properly bleeding them, at least not the way that I should have. So my thought is that's the reason why they are squeaking so aggressively now. Keep in mind, this could happen to any vehicle with normal brakes or performance brakes, but it's going to be a lot more apparent whenever you've got those drilled and slotted rotors with some massive calipers. Now, the weirdest part about this is whenever they're cold, like whenever I first pull out, the first couple stops, they don't squeak at all. I'm not sure really why it's like that, but then maybe after the third time I stop, that's when you start to hear it. And it's not like the temperature's really changed, because I'm talking about the first 2 stops are in a neighborhood or something. And then after that is when it starts getting really loud. So, I don't know. I'll slow down again right here. It's bad. Here we go, we're at 30. As soon as I get under 20, that's when you really start to hear it. But anyway, for now, let's go back to the house, get these things torn apart, re-bleed them, maybe put some brake grease on the caliper guides, and see if we can get these things dialed in. But before we dive too deep into today's video, I've got to introduce you to today's video sponsor, Redtiger. Now, Redtiger makes some pretty awesome products you may already be aware of, but today we're going to be testing out their F17 dash cam. Now, the F17 Elite has some pretty impressive features. Like, it's 3-channel recording, it's got upgraded 5G Wi-Fi and GPS. It also has enhanced night vision, triple park monitor so you can record your vehicle parked 24/7. But what's got to be my favorite feature is that it records in 4K for your front cam, and then it records in 1080p for your interior cam as well as your rear view cam. Now, another key feature is having the world's first full night color dash cam. So it allows you to see things in the dark just as clear as it is in the day. Now, with this 4K front camera, it's able to capture crystal clear footage. That way, if you are in an accident or something like that, you're able to read license plates extremely easily. But not only that, with the enhanced night vision, you're able to see everything super clear at night as well, which is not something most dash cams are able to do. Now, of course, this dash cam is going to come with everything to make sure you can wire this up properly and get it installed in the perfect place. Now, the installation for this setup is a breeze, and today we're going to be installing it in the Bronco Raptor. And just like that, it is all set up. Now, it comes with a 128 gigabyte SD card, which is going to allow us to capture all the footage we need. But what I really like is not only am I getting the inside view, I'm getting the outside view, and then I can also see my trailer whenever I'm hauling something, or of course any rear end collisions. So whether you're looking for peace of mind out on the road or you just want to find a way to capture some awesome footage, Redtiger has got you covered. A huge thank you to Redtiger for sponsoring today's video, and if you're interested in getting one of these for yourself, check them out down in the link in the description below. But for now, let's get back to it. So to test my theory and see if I'm right, we're going to get this thing jacked up, take the wheels and tires off, and we're going to go through the proper process of actually bleeding these brakes to make sure we've got all the air out of the lines. Now the first thing I'm going to look at is the wear pattern. The wear pattern seems decently fine, but I do see some shiny spots right here. First thing I'm going to do is take the bolts out of the caliper. I'm going to see if they're tight first of all. Then after that, I'm going to take them off. Then we're going to grease the caliper guides in here that the brake pad actually move on. That could be some of my problem where this is a brand new caliper and stuff. We will see, but that we might as well do it while we're in here. Now what I'm going to do on mine is take off this bracket that holds the calipers in, and I'm going to grease the bottom here where the pad meets the caliper, and then I'm also going to grease these pins right here. That should allow the brakes to move a little bit more freely. There's one pin. And now I'm going to go ahead and press the calipers back. Then all you need to do is tighten this down, and it should push all the calipers back evenly. Then we'll do it on the opposite side here. Now you can see right here where it is rubbing. It's actually rubbed the paint off a little bit there. Same thing on that side right there. Got some rubbing there. And a little bit there. So I think if we put some grease in those spots, that's really going to help. And also the rods that we're connecting from here to here, I think that'll help the caliper move a little bit as well. So I'm going to get some of this brake grease here and put it right where I showed you those marks are. Basically going to put it everywhere that the brake makes contact, or the pad makes contact, other than, you know, the brake pad itself on the front where it needs to get friction. That way we can stop. But you can put this brake grease just about anywhere to ensure that that brake pad is moving correctly. More times than not, what you're hearing whenever it's squeaking is that binding. And it can bind and pinch in a bunch of different places. So instead of putting it back together and figuring out which place is really making the noise, which for this one we've got a pretty obvious sign there where it's wearing in, it's better just to cover all your bases the first go around. Then I'm also, you can see on the pads here where it's got the paint on it, I'm also going to be putting some grease down here on these. Then to finish it off, we're going to grease these pins up. Then we're going to grab our bracket, reseat it. And that should be all good, at least for the greasing portion. We'll wipe this caliper back down. Then we can go ahead and reattach it. Now that's all torqued down. So essentially I'm going to do the exact same thing on the opposite side. Then we'll come back to this side and we'll go ahead and re-bleed those brakes. Well, now we've got both sides greased up, so it's on to the next step. Now for this, I'm going to be using a fancy contraption from Harbor Freight to bleed these brakes properly by myself. This kit is a brake fluid bleeder. You can use it as an auto refill kit, but it's got some pretty unique pieces to help us get the job done. First, we've got our filler bottle up here. So essentially, you attach one of these attachments onto the bottle, place it in the reservoir, then you will turn that valve open whenever you start to work on it. And then we've got this contraption that hooks up to our air compressor right there. And essentially, we attach that onto the bleeder. We'll open up the bleeder. We will pull the trigger until we see a steady stream coming out into our fill bottle right there. And once it's a steady stream with no air, we'll know that they have been bled properly. So the general rule of thumb is you always want to start farthest away from the reservoir for bleeding. So we're going to start on the passenger side. We didn't do anything with the rear on this. So we'll start with the passenger side and we're going to go with the outside since we got dual bleeders. Outside first, inside. Same thing over there, outside, inside. Basically all we need to do is put this piece over your bleeder. We've got that on there. We're going to loosen it up right here. Now that we've got it loose, we're going to pull that trigger. Now we have no air bubbles at all in this one, so we're going to tighten it on back down. So that one is good. On to the next. Now this side's all properly bled. Let's move on to the other side and knock it out. Now one thing you want to keep an eye on up here is to make sure that your fluid reservoir does not go empty. If this goes empty throughout your process of bleeding the brakes, you'll have to restart the entire process to get the air back through. So just keep an eye on it. Make sure you are keeping that thing filled up. And you gotta wait till you see that steady stream. And then you're good. And you can even let go of the trigger doing this, because the only thing that's gonna go back in is gonna be brake fluid. Now that that's done, you want to check back on your brake fluid reservoir again to make sure it is all good there. And I've found that this bottle, if you fill it up with too much, it pushes too much weight in there, so it just overflows. But a good rule of thumb, if you have two people, as soon as you start to do it, you can sit up there and do it. But whenever you're by yourself, just kind of monitor it, make sure, fill it back up after each time, you should be good. Unless you're replacing an entire brake system, I don't think there's any worries of running through that full reservoir, bleeding one caliper. So just keep an eye on it and you should be good. But now let's get everything put back together and see if our hard work's paid off and we've got rid of that horrible, horrible squeaking. Talked about the exhaust setup that I'm running now, but tell me if you guys like it or not. Instead of dumping it right under the driver's seat, it comes back and basically dumps right before the axle. Now it usually starts squeaking about right here. Not a single squeak yet. Let's take it down the road a little bit farther and see if we run into anything. No squeaking. This is good. All right, we're pulling up to a stoplight here. 30, 20, 15, not a squeak. Oh my gosh, all right. Nope, not a single squeak. I mean, it was so bad before, just inching up like I am right now. It was horrible. So I guess all it needed was that grease. Now the question will be, how long is that gonna last? I'm gonna drive it around a little bit longer tonight, give you guys an update. Well, we have made it back home and the squeaking is officially gone. Now, greasing your brakes the way that we did here, I think that helped more than bleeding the brakes, especially once we saw how much wear there was there. But greasing your brakes is something you may have to end up doing regularly depending on what vehicle you have and what your brake setup is. So on this may be something that I have to do every 6 months or every 3 months. We don't really know yet, but I'm just happy to know that we have found a way to fix that horrible, horrible noise. Well, I hope this video helps some of you that are having the same problem that I did. I am very happy to say that that solved our problem, and hopefully we won't have to worry about it for a long time. But if you guys haven't already, please like, comment, subscribe, let me know what you think, let me know what you want to see next. But until then, Godspeed.